Colorado is a state that is known for its beauty, but woven into its landscapes are places that tell much heavier stories. In this video, we're visiting memorials that mark some of the state's most devastating tragedies. These memorials stand as quiet reminders of lives forever changed. Just a quick note before we start. This video focuses on historic memorials and tragic moments in history. The stories are heartbreaking, and they're shared to remember those who were lost. Viewer discretion is advised. One of the most devastating natural disasters in Colorado's history was the result of a flash flood. The Big Thompson River begins high up in Rocky Mountain National Park, flows through Estes Park, and then winds its way down the 25-mile-long Big Thompson Canyon before eventually joining the South Platte River near Greeley. It's a beautiful stretch of Colorado, but that beauty comes with hidden risks. Steep mountains and narrow canyon walls means that when heavy rain hits, water has nowhere to go. Instead of spreading out, it piles up, rises quickly, and rushes through the canyon with incredible force. That's exactly what happened on the evening of July 31st, 1976. In about 4 hours, close to 12 inches of rain fell in the upper part of the canyon, triggering a destructive surge of water, at times reaching 20 feet high, which rushed through the canyon. Cars, campsites, homes, and businesses were swept away. By the end of the night, 144 people had lost their lives, and some were never found. The roads were destroyed, which made rescue efforts extremely difficult. The Big Thompson River Flood is one of the deadliest flash floods in U.S. history. Today, there's a remembrance memorial near the Big Thompson Canyon Fire Station, about 1 mile east of Drake Road along U.S. Highway 34. Built in 1978, just 2 years after the flood, the memorial lists the names of those who lost their lives. Every July, people gather here for an annual remembrance ceremony. It's a quiet but powerful reminder of how quickly nature can change, and how quickly life can change. In Weld County, Colorado, near the intersection of County Road 52 and 43, about 2 miles east of Evans, Colorado, there is a quiet stretch of road with a heartbreaking history. On the morning of December 14, 1961, just after 8:30 a.m., a school bus carrying 36 children stopped at a railroad crossing. The driver looked for a train, but fogged-up windows and the low morning sun made it difficult to see down the tracks. As the bus crossed the tracks, it was hit by a passenger train, tearing it in half. 20 children lost their lives that morning. The 23-year-old bus driver was arrested and charged with involuntary manslaughter, but was later found not guilty. It was a terrible, tragic accident that forever changed this community. In 2007, a 9-foot granite memorial known as The Crossing was dedicated near the original site of the accident. It bears the names of the children who died and serves as a quiet place for remembrance, for families, survivors, and the community that still feels this loss. After the accident, the road and crossing were redesigned to improve visibility and safety, helping ensure something like this never happens again. The crossing reminds us that in everyday places, there are stories that should never be forgotten. In the early 1900s, coal mining was a major part of Colorado's economy, but it was also one of the most dangerous jobs you could have. Nearly 10% of the state's workforce worked in the mines, many of them for the Colorado Fuel and Iron Company. In 1913, miners started asking for some necessary changes: better pay, safer working conditions, an 8-hour workday, and the freedom to live and shop outside company-owned towns. When the company refused these requests, the United Mine Workers of America called for a strike. Families were forced out of company housing and set up tent colonies along the strike zone. One of the largest tent colonies was in Ludlow, Colorado, where around 1,200 people were living. As the months went on, tensions rose. Company workers harassed the colony, and when the state militia arrived, they largely took the company's side. On April 20th, 1914, everything came to a breaking point. Gunfire erupted, and during the chaos, the tent colony caught fire. When it was over, after 14 hours of violence, 21 people were dead, including 11 children. Some of those children suffocated while hiding in a pit beneath a burning tent. The massacre shocked the nation and sparked days of violence across southern Colorado. Federal troops were eventually sent in, which ended the strike, and the public outcry from the massacre helped push forward major labor reforms. Today, the site of the Ludlow Tent Colony is a National Historic Landmark. It honors those who paid the ultimate price in the fight for safer work conditions and fair treatment. The final event did not happen in Colorado, but it was deeply personal to Colorado. In January of 1961, the U.S. Figure Skating Championships were held in Colorado Springs at the Broadmoor World Arena. The event determined which skaters would represent the United States at the World Figure Skating Championships in Prague, forever linking Colorado Springs to what happened next. On February 15, 1961, the U.S. national figure skating team boarded a plane in New York City, headed to the Brussels airport in Belgium. A photo taken that day shows the skaters smiling just hours before takeoff. A few hours later, the plane crashed in Belgium, and there were no survivors. In 1961, the U.S. dominated the figure skating world, having won every men's and women's Olympic title since 1952. In a single moment, much of that talent was gone. Only 2 members of the U.S. team were not on the flight. Tim Brown, the men's bronze medalist, had to withdraw after becoming ill, and Coach Ronald Ludington stayed home because he couldn't afford the trip. They were the only surviving members of the 1961 team. The impact on the sport was devastating and deeply personal for Colorado Springs. Today, a memorial bench to the skaters who lost their lives sits along the lake at the Broadmoor Resort. The iconic resort in Colorado Springs has been part of the U.S. figure skating story since the 1930s, when it built an outdoor rink that attracted top skaters from across the country. Long before the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Training Center existed, Colorado Springs had already become a hub for elite figure skating. The Broadmoor Skating Club grew into one of the most prestigious skating clubs in the nation. So the next time you're at the Broadmoor walking around the lake, stop and see the beautiful memorial that is a place of reflection and remembrance.